day is it today? The 26th of April, I believe. Maybe the 25th. I don't know. I didn't check these things. I'm professional. But anyway, it is about 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, and I am getting ready to tell you all about what I have planned for May, because that is coming up, I think, next week. I think next Saturday is May 1st. So we have a lot going on in May. By we, I mean the royal we, Princess Rainey. So I am actually going to do 2 videos today. One being my May TBR for BookTube, and then another one being a floss tube video. I have never done a floss tube video before, but if you are not aware, floss tube is a rabbit hole on YouTube that is all about cross stitch. And I'm assuming embroidery and things where you use colorful floss to create art. So grab your coffee. We're going to do video number 1, and video number 1 is strictly books. So if you're here for the books, stay tuned. Grab your coffee. If it's the afternoon or evening, maybe some wine, because it's Sunday, people. We got to gear up for Monday. Fun. So as I mentioned, May is a very busy month for me, both personally and apparently books and stitching related also. But my birthday is in May. My dad's birthday is in May. A couple of friends' birthdays are in May. Mother's Day in the US is in May. So lots of things happening that are going to cut into my reading time, most likely, and which is fine. But at kind of the middle of April, I thought, oh, I only have 6 books on my TBR. That's great. That's not bad at all. And if I can get them on audiobook, no problem. I'll be golden. Now I have 10 books, and that's if I didn't forget any. So yay. But I'm not upset about it. Well, I'm never upset to have too many books on my TBR, but I'm not stressed about it, because between my birthday on May 5th and my dad's birthday, which is exactly a week later, I am going to be taking a week off of work. So, because my birthday, May 5th, Mother's Day is May 9th, and my dad's birthday is May 12th. So, lots of stuff happening that week. So I thought that is a good week for me to take some time off of work, since I really haven't taken much time off of work anyway. And in the last, since 2021 started, actually since 2020, because I worked at home most of 2020. And that was kind of like a vacation, but at the same time, I didn't take any time off work, because I'm at home, I'm working in my PJs. I feel like I can't take off work. And plus, at that point, I was the only secretary at work. So, so I haven't really taken much time off at all. And, travel is getting a little bit better now, but I really don't have any plans to go anywhere yet. So I'm just going to take a staycation, stay home, and read and stitch, and probably go to the zoo, because that's what I like to do on my birthday. I know, it's odd, maybe, but I like to go to the zoo on my birthday if it's nice. So yeah, I guess that was our random chatter. Yes. So now let's get on to the books. Okay, so just grabbing the first book off of my stack, we have That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. I am reading this with the read-along that Victoria from A Musical Bookworm is hosting, called the Space Trilogy 2021. And this is the third and final installment in C.S. Lewis's space trilogy. And this trilogy pretty much follows the big Christian themes of pre-fall, fall, and I don't know. I'm assuming like some kind of redemption is is going to happen in this hideous strength. Maybe it's going to be more Revelation-esque. But I haven't read it. Or actually, I have read it. I read it in college, but I really don't remember it because a lot of my college reading is a blur because there were no audiobooks when I was in college, and I was in a panic because I am a slow physical reader. My entire college career was panicking that I wasn't going to get books finished in time for the test. So I'm excited to reread this book and experience it in a more leisurely way than I did in college. This one is definitely thicker than the other two, so it probably will take me a little bit longer, but I might try to find an audiobook for this. Next on my list is another reread, and this is due to Kate Howe challenging Kieran from, oh gosh, I forget his channel name. I will put it below. But challenging him to read Wives and Daughters, and she is hoping that he will like it, and he is thinking that he will not like it. But I am really hoping that he does like it because this is what really hooked me on Elizabeth Gaskell. And I've only read it once, but it is still my favorite of Elizabeth Gaskell's novels. I have read all of, I believe, all but two of her main works. I still have to read Sylvia's Lovers and Ruth. But, and I should be reading those because that was in my 2020 goals to read them all, and I did not get there. So I should not be rereading Wives and Daughters, but it is my birthday month, and I love Wives and Daughters, and I'm going to read it. So I'm going to take this leisurely as well, maybe like a chapter or two a day, but throughout the month. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to rereading and experiencing my love of Molly Gibson and Roger and all of the Hamleys over again, and hopefully getting to discuss it with Kate and Kieran. Ooh, another book that Kate Howe is responsible for me reading and picking up this May, which is pretty much my entire 2021 is Kate Howe made me do it. But Kate and Marissa from Blatantly Bookish are hosting a read-along of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. And also, my friend Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, I think this is her favorite book, if I'm not mistaken, but she loves this book, and she was appalled when I told her I'd never read it before. So that's 3 awesome booktubers recommending this book to me, so I'm picking it up this month. I actually have no idea what this is about, except obviously a tree and Brooklyn. Next on my pile is Beyond the Gathering Storm by Jeanette Oakes. This is, I always say Oakes, it's Oak, Jeanette Oak. I am reading this series, the Canadian West series, with my friend Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures. And this is, I believe we're on the 5th book now. Yeah, that makes sense because we're in the 5th month. So this is the 5th book, and I believe there's only one more after this, or maybe this is the final book. I don't really know. I'm not sure. But anyway, Berna and I are really enjoying this series. It is a Christian historical fiction set in Canada, obviously, and it follows a Royal Canadian Mountie and his wife Elizabeth and their adventures in the Canadian territories back when they were more, they were inhabited by the natives of Canada, and the white man was kind of coming into their territories. So, you know, there are a lot of views of that. But this story is more about Elizabeth and Wynne trying to incorporate themselves into the natives' lives. They're not necessarily trying to change the indigenous people and how they do things, but they're just trying to what's the word? Assimilate. That's the word. Assimilate themselves into their culture while also trying to get them to trust them and kind of work with them. And so it's not it maybe has a rose tinted view of all that, but it's been very lovely and cozy so far. And but some rather big personal topics are being dealt with in Wynne and Elizabeth's lives too. So I'm very excited to continue this series with Berna. Next is another book that I know nothing about, and I have no idea what it is, but it is called The Garden of New Beginnings by Abby Waxman. This was the book that was chosen by Krista's Patreon book club from Books and Jams fame. And so I just put it on my TBR. I know nothing about it. I don't know. I didn't look it up in Goodreads. It's a colorful cover. It's a garden and new beginnings. That sounds springy. So I'm for it. So we'll see what it's about. And another book that involves Krista from Books and Jams and a bunch of other booktubers is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This is another C.S. Lewis book I am reading for May. And I forgot to mention that this one and That Hideous Strength I am also going to use for maybe Midrash, which is a readathon that happens in May that involves serious conversations on religious texts. Not necessarily religious texts, but it can be fiction that deals with religion in a serious way, and you are also to read a nonfiction. So that here is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This is another reread for me. I read this in college, and this is one book that I really remember loving in college. So it's one that I actually sort of remember. So I'm really excited to get to this. I believe that Krista on her channel will be hosting weekly lives. There are 4 sections in this book, and so each live will contain a section, and she is going to have myself and a few other booktubers join her for 1 or 2 of the sessions. So yeah, I believe the Mother's Day session might be changed to a different day to accommodate people that celebrate Mother's Day. But but yeah, they mostly will be on Sundays throughout May. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this and discussing it with you all, with Krista and some other lovely friends on BookTube. Okay, and then the next one, also which involves Kate Howe, is A New Song by Jan Karen. This is the 5th installment in A Year in Mitford read-along that I co-host with Kate and Angie from Literary Labors and Chelsea from Voyage of a Time Wanderer. And this is just a lovely tale that would also fit for maybe Midrash, because this follows an Episcopalian pastor. It is, obviously a fiction, but it very often does deal with religious themes in the books. They're not, it's not maybe the central focus of the books, but he's an Episcopalian pastor. He obviously has God as the central focus in his life. So often there are a lot of themes that Christians deal with throughout these novels. So would also work for maybe Midrash. And I'm just loving this series. I am all about the cozy reads this year, and this series is another favorite so far. I had never read the Mitford series before, but I love them. And I would say that I will probably continue to read these via audiobook. And if you get a chance to get the audiobooks for the Mitford series, the narrator for that, and I forget his name, but I'll try to remember to maybe put it on the screen. But he is really good. I am really enjoying his style with all the voices and the emotion he puts into it, and he sings during the hymns and the Christmas carols and things like that. He sings. It's really nice. So I would definitely recommend the audiobook for these books. Okay, so that's all the physical books on my stack. I need to take another drink of coffee before it gets cold. But I will go over the books that I do not actually physically have at the moment. Okay, so also for another read along, I am going to be reading Purgatorio by Dante. And this is for a read along with Jennifer Brooks. And we are reading the entire Divine Comedy over the next 3 months. We read The Inferno. That's the name. We read The Inferno last month. And I did have a physical copy of that, but I don't have the other two in the trilogy. So, and Purgatorio is obviously the idea of purgatory in mostly the Catholic faith. So yeah, again, this is another one that I'm pretty sure I read in college, but I don't remember it at all. I vaguely remember the last one, Paradiso, but I don't remember Purgatorio at all. So that will be very interesting to re-experience and see if it rings any bells to me. The next book also involves Kate Howe. It is Romance of a Shop by Amy Levy. This is a Victorian novel that we will be reading for Kate Howe's Patreon. And she does a Victorian book club Patreon group that I am a part of. And somehow I totally missed that this was the book club pick for that, for this month. And I happened to be on the Zoom call for this month, which we always have a social in the middle of, like we take 2 months to read a Victorian novel, and on the off month we have a social where we all just get together and chat. And one of the patrons, Morgan, was talking about reading Romance of a Shop, and I was like, oh, that's nice. And then she was talking about discussing it next month, and I'm like, what? So that's one of the ones that I added to my list at the last minute because I was like, oopsie, I forgot. But I'm really excited to read this. I don't, again, know anything about it, but I remember seeing a couple of people read it for Victober a couple of years ago, and it sounded really interesting. So, and it just sounds very lighthearted and cozy. Oh, and the last one that I don't have yet, but I think I can get on ebook at least, hopefully, is for my book club that I run with Angie from Literary Labors called The Bitter Single Ladies Read Romance. And our selection for May is Little Wedding Island. And I forget who the author is, so obviously I will pop it up here and you can see. I believe that Angie and I have discussed our live stream discussion being on the 23rd, I believe, of May. So check back for sure. Like, check my Instagram. I'll leave my Instagram stuff below if you're not following me there. But I will definitely post all that information on there whenever we get it nailed down. But I think it's going to be the 23rd. And it will be on Angie's channel. So make sure you're following Angie at Literary Labors if you want to join in our romance reading book club that we have. But anyway, that is my TBR for May. And I am actually going to split my video into two. Like I said at the beginning, I'm going to do a crafty floss tube video after this to tell you about my cross stitching and knitting plans for May. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in that. If not, that's okay. That's why I'm splitting this into two videos, so that you don't have to navigate through them. But we will be back to our normal, like, one long video with timestamps and my little transition screens after this. But I didn't really get a lot read this week, so I thought I would just make it a chatty TBR video for you today. So that being said, I'm going to go film my next video. So I will talk to everybody next week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.